Write this down for me. I've called this message tonight, Occupy All Streets. Look at your neighbor and say, occupy. Look back at them and say, can I get your number? Hey girl, no, don't say that. Occupy all streets. I love Jesus. Best decision I ever made was to follow him. And if you get to know Jesus just a little bit, you start finding out really quickly that he appealed to everybody. Jesus was not a rich man's God. He was not a poor man's God. He was not, the have and the have-nots. Jesus was applicable and relevant and kind and impacting to everybody. And we believe we should be a part of churches that are, occupying all streets, meaning wherever you are, whatever you do for a living, wherever your home is, your job, that is your street. And we believe wherever there are people, there should be a Christian occupying their street really close to those people. You might not be exactly where you want to be, but you are not where you should be had it not been for God's grace. So you are left with no option tonight other than to say, Lord, this is my street, and I'm going to occupy it. Every street, wherever there's entertainers, we need Christians there. Wherever there's darkness in a city, we don't need to curse it. We need to bring some light to it. Occupy. If you're a stay-at-home mom tonight, your house where you raise your children, you're called not just to exist and wait for the rapture to come take you home. God has you where he has you for a reason. Occupy all streets. Typically, Christians occupy some streets. We believe that day is over. Oasis is a fantastic picture, I believe, of what God is doing in our country. Where there's some people here who work in this industry, there's other people who are in the school system, there's other people who are just really cool. Everybody in LA is so cool. It's awesome. Nobody honks. I'm used to walking around, in Virginia, smelling like barbecue stuff, and all you ever smell in LA is the devil's lettuce. Wherever you go, it's just occupy all streets. Some of y'all just got that. You'll get it later and be like, oh, it's so funny. Our prayer, I know I can speak for your pastors for a moment. You don't ever want anybody to miss the point of why we do what we do. The goal is not to get people in church. The point of this faith is to know Jesus better every single day and just hopefully get a little bit more like him every single day. Coming to church is great, but if it's not a byproduct of your relationship with him, you might as well go down to the bingo hall or some other behavior modification zone. This here, Jesus, it's about soul transformation. The point is to lift the heads of many and bring the gospel wherever you go. Have you ever known somebody all they do is miss the point of everything? Like when, someone's supposed to apologize to you and they come up to you and they're like, you know what? You're always wrong and, I don't really like you, but I'm sorry. And you're just like kind of missed the point there. Or maybe you're a parent. Do we have any parents in here? Have you ever had a moment where you, first of all, want to be delivered from your parenthood? Go back to your single days. Anyway, that's just maybe me. I'm projecting. But where you feel like your kids are not getting it. Like where you're talking to them and you're trying to teach them things and they're just not getting it. And I always want to make sure my kids are getting the point. Like my son, his name is Roman the Lion. And he's dominating all streets right now. He's a great athlete. I believe he's going to be the next great athlete. He also has no choice because it's either that or he has to find a new place to live. But, and he's a leader. Like he's awesome. I'm trying to teach him the point of being a leader is not just to dominate everybody, it's to serve, do whatever God's called you to do. But he doesn't understand that sometimes. So we had like a moment where he kept going around telling everybody he's the boss. And if you've ever seen my son, he may be a boss someday, but right now he pays no rent, contributes nothing to our household. He wears giant, awesome bifocals because his eyes are crossed, and it's awesome. Like if you look at my son and look at you, one of his eyes goes directly in. I'm like, babe, we got to get this guy to a doctor. But just look at this. I got a picture just so you can see the preposterous nature of my son saying he's the boss, right? So I'll be like, Roman, you can't just go up to everybody and say you're the boss all the time because he'll be like, I'm the boss. Like any, babysitters, whatever, he just causes havoc. And one day I was like, son, you're not the boss. And he's like, I am the boss, Dad. I'm like, son, you're not the boss. I am. You're not. I am. So I spanked him, and then if that offends you, we're in trouble anyway because I'm from Virginia where I used to get spanked for what I might do, come back and we're dealing with it, talking about it, and finally I'm like, son, you're not the boss. He's like, okay, Dad, I'm not the boss. And as I leave, he's like, I'm the boss, though. You can miss the point a little bit as a little guy growing up in my house. You cannot miss the point of your whole existence on this earth as a follower of Jesus. And the point tonight, if I had one big one to make, it would be this: wherever you are, God has you there for a reason. Lift as many heads as you can. Be as kind as you can. Do everything possible, knowing there's probably something else down the road. But where you are right now, you're going to do it like it was the last day you're ever going to have, because you know that tomorrow is not promised. This street you occupy now, it's all you have. And my prayer is that LA will continually be infiltrated with Christians that are occupying their street, because they understand the point of this whole thing is to allow the light of the gospel to flow through me.